model railway industry has been influenced by hundreds of thousands over the past century. It has seen shifts from production in the UK to production in China. Manufacturing to ensure a buyer's satisfaction became keeping the costs down, and from direct purchase from the manufacturers to the retail discounts and second-hand markets. The industry has seen several key figures over the years, from Frank Hornby to Pete Waterman, and the number of railway-related monthly publications has risen from less than 100 a few decades ago to over 1,000 different publications in the year 2025. But all of this means nothing to the ordinary enthusiast. All they are interested in is getting the right product or explanation from the industry. A certain question has been popping up all over the forums with all sorts of answers, so it's about time that we answer these words fully. So who actually controls the model railway industry? For starters, we have to go right back to basics with the question of what is a model railway. Railway modelling is described as recreating the landscape where the railways thrive to a reduced scale. Railway modelling started way back in the early 20th century with a German company, now bankrupt, called Bing, at the forefront of the industry. Come 1901, however, the British toy market had seen a new invention, a set of 16 regular interchangeable parts that could be assembled and then disassembled in no time at all, had broken cover under the name of Meccano. Meccano was seen as a revolution in the British toy industry. The fact that a toy had been manufactured with education and engineering in mind made it a major stake in every household. In the year of 1916, the first ever engineering toy magazine was introduced to newsagents. The Meccano magazine was an eclectic mix of step-by-step guides on building machines with Meccano alongside news from the manufacturing and engineering industries. I have one here. We have basically all the things that you can expect from a normal magazine, so news from aircraft, engineering, locomotives, along with adverts from the time, and loads of other useful information that is very good. The Meccano magazine had exponential growth within the next few years, and in 1920 the British model railway industry was born. Frank Hornby introduced what was said to be the finest clockwork railway ever built, Hornby Railways. A basic set cost £2 and contained a kit with all the parts needed to make an over-the-track, a locomotive and 2 wagons. In the few years that were to come, Hornby would dominate the UK with clockwork trains, but in 1925 all changed. The first electric locomotive entered the market that was powered by a 20-volt AC system. This would change the industry forever. The next major milestone in the industry was the introduction of Hornby 00 by Frank Hornby's son, Roland. It was a complete change as it was modelled to a smaller scale of 1/76, rather than the previous 1/43. This meant it could fit on a large table or worktop. This smaller scale meant more people could have a small or large set, as it didn't need a whole floor to be set up on. In the next few decades, history speaks for itself. The introduction of Twixt Twin Railway gave the industry a new system with the ability to run 2 trains on the same track. Basically the first idea of where model railways could be in the future with DCC. In 1946, 2 new manufacturers would enter the industry, of which one would take the main stake of track and accessories, Liebherr and Pico. In 1951, a well-known manufacturer of engineering projects launched a system to a smaller scale of 1/144, rather than the established 1/76. Graham Farish. The new system introduced a separate market, which would move from the niche to the established scale of choice. In 1952, the industry took a huge turn in production and manufacturing. The introduction of Triangle Railways to the market offered a cheaper and mass-produced train set for the masses. The company, which was owned by Lines Bros, aimed to compete with the well-established Hornby 003 rail system, and ultimately they would succeed. They had this system, a system of plastic, moulded bodies, sleepers and buildings, with steel rails and cast metal sashes, Hornby, on the other hand, introduced a relatively similar system to Trying in 1958, with a two-rail system that cost a bit more and in theory was more realistic. In 1964, Hornby fell into bankruptcy and the Hornby system was sold to the Trying Group, who in which renamed their own system Trying Hornby and introduced a side division, Trying Wren, which was produced models with the old Hornby double mouldings to fit alongside their own system. In 1972, Lines Ross fell into administration and the Trying Hornby name was acquired by DCM, who renamed the whole system Hornby Railways. In 1976, the Palatoy brand introduced mainline railways, a diverse range of British models that became an instant success within the industry. In 1983, the company, however, fell into Cader Industries' hands, at the same time that Hornby fell into receivership and became a public domain company. It led to the question if the industry would fall off and disappear altogether. However, this year wasn't a complete flop for the industry. A chap by the name of David Boyle saw a large gap in the locomotive development and bought most of the tooling and moulds from Cader for the Palatoy range and started the first Welsh model railway manufacturer, Dapol. In 1989, Cader Industries, the owner of Mainline Railways, scrapped the Mainline Railways brand and introduced Bachmann Branch Line, a range of higher detailed models based off the Mainline range. The old Bachmann US range was taken over by the Cader industry, who renamed themselves Bachmann Europe. In 1990, Dapol sold their mouldings to Hornby and started a complete new range of models aimed at the experienced exhibitor. These new models would have high detail and a high price. This year also boasted a few manufacturing changes. Hornby started its move from its factory in Margate to the Far East, with the headquarters staying in Margate. Lima also changed hands, becoming part of the Rivarossi brand, a large manufacturer in the Spanish railway industry. In 1992, Bachmann Industries moved their headquarters to Germany and acquired the Lilliput brand, a range of German models and accessories. In the next few years, a new manufacturer would enter the industry, Helion. Helion became the main manufacturer of O-gauge models and would soon find a rival in the gauge. At the start of the new millennium, Bachmann acquired Graham Farish and started an N-gauge subdivision, Graphar, by Bachmann. The new division would use most of the old moulds, but with newer, more reliable and quieter chassis arrangements. This same year, Helion introduced ranges in 00 and 009. In 2002, Dapol introduced ranges in N and O to complement their expanded 00 range and challenge Helion. In 2004, Hornby purchased all rights to the Rivarossi brand, triggering a mass change in the industry, as Rivarossi owned Lima. Since then, nothing has really changed the industry, as all manufacturers had increased their range and updated old models. In more recent years, several new manufacturers have entered the industry. Most of these are trying to combat the ever-changing customer with better quality models at a cheaper price. Some people say that the industry is controlled by certain mentors, like Pete Waterman and Simon Kohler. They are known for their contribution to the industry and their constant eye on change the industry needs to make, or just the industry itself. Pete Waterman is known in the industry for his contribution to exhibitions and his annual event, Making Tracks for Chester Cathedral. This is where Pete takes a very large layout to the cathedral to show to cathedral visitors over an extended period of time. Pete also holds a world record for the largest portable model railway, which was set on the 27th of April 2024 at Model World Live. Simon Kohler is known for his contributions to the manufacturer Hornby over his long stay in the company. He has overseen most changes that happened in the recent years at the company and has had a very large influence in the introduction of TT to 120 in the last couple of years. This meant he is very widely recognised as Mr. Hornby. So who controls the industry? I've talked about influencers and manufacturers as they play a huge part in answering the question, to which there isn't really an answer. Who controls the model railway industry? The answer is that you have to make your own judgment. just like I have.